flight attendant is trained to handle anything, from the routine
Check to see that your seatbelt is securely fastened
to the terrifying.
Open the seatbelts! Get up!
And when that happens, training saves lives.
They call it boot camp, and we are, merciless.
I'm gonna feel like a huge failure if I do get sent home today.
Before any flight attendant takes off, she must be prepared for the possibilities no one likes to think about. Because keeping passengers comfortable is easy. Keeping them safe, that's the hard part. The preparation begins at flight attendant school. In this episode of Flight Attendant School.
Falling asleep in class is a terminable offense.
So where are you sleeping?
I'm sorry.
This is your opportunity to get your feet wet.
I was going to include this project. Where? Oh, goodness.
Bags are packed. I am ready to go. On a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again.
As the flight attendant trainees are getting ready for another day of training, one student is getting used to her new living situation.
My name's Sharon. I moved into the house after Suzette left, and it's been fun. It's different. I'm not used to living with this many people, but it's been a good experience, better than I thought it would be.
Today, the students will be learning how to give excellent service in the air by practicing on the ground in the aircraft cabin trainer.
Welcome aboard Frontier Airlines flight number 50 to Cancun.
In a training program called Day in the Life, students will be observed by the instructors during a simulated flight.
For the mock-up flights, there's 3 people that have the roles of being flight attendants, and there's 12 of us that are supposed to be passengers on the plane. So this time I'm going to be a passenger.
The students who play the roles of passengers are vital. Not only are they behaving like real travelers, they are also evaluating the flight attendants on their performance.
Flight attendants prepare doors for departure and cross-check.
Even though these are training flights, the passengers and flight attendants must perform their roles perfectly the entire time.
Thank you for your attention, and we hope you enjoy our flight.
Flight attendant Scott is known for his shyness. Instructor Marco is aware of this and wants to get him out of his comfort zone.
On his day in the life today, I've actually asked one of the students to give him a little bit of a hard time, to actually engage him a little bit, be an upset customer, to see how he would actually handle somebody yelling at him for something that's beyond his control.
I have a business meeting. I'm going to be
All right,
late. If
you're
20
welcome.
minutes late, I'm losing $1,000 an hour. There's no use for me to even be on this flight if we're not going to get there on time.
Right. I'm sorry that we left the gate late, but sometimes we can make up some time there, so hopefully we will today. Michelle's going to find that out for us.
He said it's going to be a little bit difficult to tell how late we're going to be until we're a little closer, about 2 or 3 more hours, but I'll give you an update as soon as we know.
Okay, well, as soon as you know, I need an update, because if I'm going to miss my meeting, then there's no use for me to be on this flight.
Completely understandable.
Ma'am, would you like a muffin?
Flight attendants, please be seated for landing.
As the training flight is winding down, one passenger catches instructor Karen's eye.
When we were doing our day in the life in the cabin trainer, I happened to glance over and I saw Sharon just peacefully sleeping. And it just kind of startled me because I thought, gosh, is she really sleeping? Or is she just closing her eyes for just a brief moment?
She was out. Her eyes were shut, so I made kind of loud landing noises to purposely see if that would wake her up.
Falling asleep in class is a terminable offense.
All right, let's see if Pam is in.
Hey, Frank. Come
Morning.
Hey. What's going on?
Need to talk to you about a student. Karen, why don't you...
Well, we were in day in the life, and one of the students, Sharon, was sitting in the front row in the middle, And Marco and I saw her just absolutely dozed off. And
In class?
in class, in the mock-up.
That little break might have cost her her job here.
Yeah.
So let's get all the facts, and then we'll go forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay?
Wow, what a drag.
All right.
All right.
Sorry.
We'll talk to you soon.
They're going through some critical training information, and if they're dozing off, we're going to unfortunately have to remove them from class. And that's hard. We're going to call the student in. We'll chat with her. Most of the time, the students know. And so we'll make our decision there. But if she was indeed sleeping in class, unfortunately, we've lost another student.
Coming up on Flight Attendant School.
So were you sleeping?
During an important flight attendant training exercise, student Sharon was caught sleeping. This could mean the end of her career.
So go ahead and have a seat, and we'll be with you in just a few minutes, okay? I don't think anything could save Sharon at this point from termination. The issue isn't just about falling asleep. It's about falling asleep, and when you're asleep, you don't know what's going on. When you don't know what's going on, something may happen around you that could be an emergency. We can't have that. We can't have that on the airplane.
Sharon, come on in. Come on in.
Hi.
Hi, Sharon, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Do you have any idea why you're here?
No.
Okay. There appears to be an incident in our training class this morning that the instructors brought to my attention, and we wanted to sit and chat with you about that. Okay. All right. So, Karen, why don't you talk to Sharon about what actually occurred?
When we were in A Day in the Life in the exercise, you were sitting in front in the middle seat, correct? Mm-hmm. I looked over and I saw you comfortably sleeping. And I let Marco know as well. And he looked over and saw you sleeping as well.
So Sharon, talk to us about what had occurred.
Okay. I'm sorry. I guess I was kind of joking around with the mock-up with playing sleeping passenger. I was relaxed. I wasn't ever fully asleep. I heard everything that was going on. I wasn't really asleep, but I'm sorry, I didn't realize. I thought I was just kind of playing with the game, but...
Was there role-playing involved, Karen?
There was. There's role-playing involved in Our Day in the Life. And did Marco at any time ask you to portray the role of a sleeping passenger or somebody that may have a medical condition that you passed out or anything like that?
No, but I mean, we've all kind of taken liberties adding in our own little things here and there, and I had no idea it would come across like I was really sleeping.
So were you sleeping?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so...
I was aware of everything that was going on around me.
So what you're telling us is that this was part of the role play scenario.
Can we talk?
Yeah. How about you give us a second? We'll be back with you, and just give us a few minutes to chat, okay?
If I could just, it's usually in times in class where you're just listening that it's hard for me, but it's times like in the mock-up when there's a lot going on that I am aware and listening, so I don't want you guys to think I was just using that as a cover, that I was. So.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon.
Pretending like I was sleeping in the mock-up, and I thought that they just asked me if I was sleeping for real, I guess. And, well, that's what they just assumed. I am a little nervous, but I guess they have to do what they gotta do. I hope they take it. I know they have black and white rules, but I hope they are understanding of what can happen and make exceptions with it.
Hey, Marco. How are ya? I need a little feedback here. We've spoken to Sharon in regards to what had occurred, and you also witnessed this, and from Sharon's standpoint, she's saying, I was kind of relaxing, being quiet, pretending I was sleeping.
I honestly don't have a doubt in my mind that she was sleeping.
After taking everything into consideration, Pam is ready to make her final decision about Sharon's future.
Are you guys ready for her to come in?
Yes.
Coming up on Flight Attendant School.
By having your eyes closed, how could you actually be watching the crew member really do their performance?
After getting caught sleeping during a flight attendant training exercise, student Sharon is about to find out from senior instructor Pam if she will be dismissed from the program.
All right. We've actually had to sit down and do some really weighing. All the information we've got here is that based on your statement, you were taking the role on of a passenger. And very conceivably, our passengers close their eyes. We want them to relax. Frank, do you have that initial directions? Our concern right here, Sharon, is by having your eyes closed is the attitude and how could you actually be watching the crew member really do their performance? So we've got some flags flying around here. This is your final check. This is your termination letter. But we're willing to give you another opportunity. And what we're going to do is we're making a notation in your training file.
I understand.
Okay. It was close. You had us frightened. We didn't want to lose you here. All right.
Since we do have role-playing, and she says that she was role-playing the part of a sleepy passenger, I guess we're giving her the benefit of the doubt. In this business, you have to be open-minded to everything, and we never like to fire anyone. We never like to term anyone at all. But I think we can be justified in looking at both sides of the story and making a decision that will stick.
As Sharon rejoins the class, instructor Chris stuns the students by telling them their first real-life training flights will begin tomorrow.
This is your opportunity to get your feet wet. So make your mistakes this time. Do it perfect on your second training flight. Right? This isn't a job you can learn from a book and hit the ground running. You have to make the mistakes out there.
The students will be paired up and assigned an instructor who will fly with them and evaluate their performance.
It's Sharon. Okay. So
Trouble? Double trouble.
Yeah.
Our training flights were assigned today, and I'm gonna be flying with Sharon. The trainer, Karen, is gonna be working our flight, so it's good and bad. I'm a little nervous. I'm sure she'll be a little more critical.
I'm flying with Stacy, so that'll be fun. I feel a lot more secure with her going with me because she's done it before. And Karen, actually, is also going to be going with us, so maybe a little nervous.
So we'll see you at 6 then. Okay.
Get some sleep.
I know.
Even though Stacy has worked as a flight attendant before, Karen is by no means going to give her a pass on tomorrow's training flight. For Sharon, Karen will be even tougher. It's the morning of Stacy and Sharon's training flight. After nearly getting fired in class the previous day, Sharon's stress level is high.
I didn't sleep very well last night. Just the newness. I've never flown as a flight attendant before. I'm flying with Karen.
And flight time is 1 hour and 19 minutes. The load down there is, we're really light today.
I think Sharon's a little bit apprehensive. Yesterday was a very difficult day for Sharon. She came very close to losing her position in our training course.
All righty, I'm gonna go ahead and head down there.
For their training flight, Sharon, Stacy, and Karen will fly round trip to Phoenix.
Good morning, how are you? Hello. Good morning, welcome aboard.
Under Karen's watchful eye, Sharon begins to perform the safety demonstration.
Please remove this card and follow along as we demonstrate these safety features. To fasten your seatbelt, insert the flat metal end into the buckle. Should there be a loss of cabin pressure, place the mask over your nose and mouth, secure with the elastic band, and breathe normally. Thank you for your attention. We hope you enjoy your flight.
As if having instructor Karen on her first training flight isn't challenging enough, Sharon is confronted by an unexpected challenge: motion sickness.
Halfway through the flight, I realized I was starting to get a little bit nauseous, which I wasn't really expecting. Once I got more focused on, our next task or whatever we needed to do, it helped me to focus less on not feeling well and more on what I needed to be doing and helping out my coworkers, because I would hate to put them out.
During their brief layover in Phoenix, Sharon finally confides in Stacy about her motion sickness.
I was getting a little queasy. It's probably best not to.
You were? Oh, goodness. Let's go get you a Sprite.
I've always been a little prone to motion sickness. I haven't dealt with it a lot when flying, but also I was sitting down the whole time, and so it's quite a new experience. Honestly, I have a lot more mixed feelings about flying now. It wasn't as enjoyable, and I don't know if that's just because of the motion sickness, so we'll see how the second training flight goes.
Still not feeling well, Sharon boards the flight back to Denver. Once again, her success in the program is in doubt. Coming up on Flight Attendant School.
One of the air samples? Okay, I will have her do that. The captain wanted to know if you could take an air sample.
While Sharon battles a severe case of motion sickness during her training flight, she and Stacy are being evaluated by instructor Karen on their performance.
How's your morning so far?
It's going great. Thank you.
Sharon's focus on her job has impressed instructor Karen.
You're doing great. You're doing great. You both are.
Pretty nervous.
I still get butterflies for people like you and Sharon that are in training and coming out of training, because it just renews my excitement all over again.
The flight went good. I was able to serve the whole cabin with the cart. The service was fairly, not fast, but fairly quick, and it went well.
As the flight descends into Denver, instructor Karen still has one more task for Sharon to complete.
You have to be so organized. You have to keep an eye on the time, what the flight deck might want. Let me just call them real quick. I just want to make sure that we're going to be on time and everything. One of the air samples? Okay, I will have her do that. Thank you. Bye-bye. The captain wanted to know if you could take an air sample in the back of the plane. And basically, all you're gonna do, it kind of sounds weird, but just like scoop some of the air and tie it really tight, okay? And that's all you need to do. You can do it discreetly, so it doesn't look, I know it sounds silly.
After listening carefully to Karen's instructions, Sharon goes ahead and gathers an air sample from the back of the airplane, which catches Stacy's attention.
No, there is no such thing as an air sample. Who told you that?
Poor thing. I'm playing a little joke on her.
Who told you that? That's not nice.
But see, when we're new in this industry, it's all been done to us. I know you'll get back at me one day.
Shame on you. I'm like, what are you doing back here?
Yes, sir. I knew you'd make a report about that.
talk to us.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Good luck.
We'll do that. The training day was a lot of fun. I enjoyed flying with Sharon. Sharon and I were the only ones to fly with Karen. So we had more pressure than I think some of the other students. To get it wrong with her was not a good thing.
The motion sickness kind of got me worried. Talked to Karen, she said you get used to it. But I also know this is my first flight, so I'm not making any judgments by now. I just thought it was kind of interesting that it took me back a little bit, so.
After hearing what had happened yesterday with Sharon during the mock-up, I had made a comment that if Sharon had been let go, I really would have had a hard time continuing. And I'm really glad that everything was settled and she's staying.
So I'm pretty sure I need to puke.
On the next episode of Flight Attendant School.
You ready for security training?
Yes. Strike. Strike. I want to hear some noise.
She's back! She's back!
Help me! Help! It's very, very important that you try to go 100% and don't quit.
Picture yourself today with a group of people trying to take over an airplane with box cutters.
It kind of makes me angry that we're at a point in time where people do things like this.
A flight attendant is trained to handle anything, from the routine
Check to see that your seatbelt is securely fastened
to the terrifying. And when that happens, training saves lives.
They call it boot camp, and we are, merciless.
I'm gonna feel like a huge failure if I do get sent home today.
Before any flight attendant takes off, she must be prepared for the possibilities no one likes to think about. Because keeping passengers comfortable is easy. Keeping them safe, that's the hard part. The preparation begins at Flight Attendant School. In this episode of Flight Attendant School,
I'm gonna play a passenger who's pretty much annoyed with the flight attendants.
You're making this a lot harder than it needs to be, ma'am.
Don't touch me, okay?
We are going to talk about ways we can defend ourselves.
Is he choking you?
Bags are packed. I am ready to go. On a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again.
8 Frontier Flight Attendant students are living together during their 6-week training program. They're sharing 2 bathrooms, a kitchen, and 1 van to get to school on time. Today, the students are beginning their most difficult and challenging class, security training.
Okay, you ready for security training? We're going to do a scenario. I'm gonna play a passenger who's pretty much annoyed with the flight attendants bugging him about my laptop computer. I'm Mr. Busy Businessman. Okay, we've made an announcement, and here comes Stacy doing the compliance check.
Sir, can you turn off your portable electronic device at this point?
Yeah, well.
We're in final descent, so that needs to be turned.
Yeah, no, we got about 10 minutes until we land. I'm shutting this thing down. I'm gonna go save. Don't worry.
He was not cooperating. I think in a real life circumstance, I don't think anyone would get that upset about turning their laptop off.
Do you know that I'm a 4-time platinum member? I am fully aware of the federal regulations.
Then you know
there's not going to be any problem unless you keep on pushing me in this, because I am going to get this thing shut down, okay? Don't touch me.
I was sitting there thinking to myself, I have no idea how I would handle the situation. What do? It's a laptop.
This thing takes a second to shut down. It's a huge program.
Understandable. I'm right here to help you.
You know what? And that really makes it a lot harder for me to shut this down. Do you not understand? You're making this a lot harder than it needs to be, ma'am.
The trainees gave their best shot at calming Frank down, but ultimately, they couldn't convince him to turn the laptop off.
All right, thanks for playing along here.
Frank, you're mean.
All right, what'd you see that worked or didn't work?
Nothing?
Okay, nothing was going to work.
Oh.
You switched out people. Got down, nice, calm voice, different person, got down to my eye level. These are just some things for you to think about, how to handle a situation like this. Hopefully they'll remember keeping their distance on somebody who might be a little bit fired up, and just remembering that that is an important factor of their personal safety.
Now that Frank's given a quick demonstration on how to handle an irate passenger, Instructor Karen is going to train the students on how to protect themselves and other passengers in case someone becomes violent on a flight.
What we're teaching in our security training is the tools for our students to be able to protect themselves, whether they're on the aircraft or whether they are in a grocery parking lot. We have something called weapons of the body. So starting with what? Our head, but also my thumbs, if I need to come to you and gouge your eyes out. I think the traveling public would be extremely shocked at the training that we here, at least at Frontier Airlines, have for our flight attendants.
Instructor Karen leads the security training with Lee, a local law enforcement officer.
The thing is, I'm catching and I'm able to come back if I needed to.
We are going to go right into some of our strikes and punches. Strike, strike, strike.
Right now we're learning a few defensive punches, and it's fun. Get your blood going. So that's funny. It's funny to see everyone's faces. I kept telling Sharon she can't make a mean face to save her life, so she smiles the whole time.
Strike!
It's definitely not in my nature to be super aggressive, and I felt like I would say about half the students were probably not in the mindset of self-defense.
I want to hear some noise, okay? Will, give me a loud help.
Help!
Loud help.
Help!
One more time.
Help! I'm more of a quiet person. I like to deal with the applications I learn and actually hit people or whatever it may need to be done. I'm not so vocal about everything.
We want it to come from somewhere down in the depths that you are not accustomed to. Because if I'm all of a sudden going, help! Did I get your attention? And guess what? This was good! I love this! That's part of my job, to bring it out and say, hey, you guys, gals, this is something that you need to empower yourselves with because it is in you.
Get back! Get back! Get back! Get back! Get out of my way! Get back! Get back! I can't hear you! Help! 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 Get back! Get back! Get back!
I'm not carrying over. I felt bad, but she bounces right back up.
I think the self-defense training was fun, and some people maybe took it a little bit more lightheartedly, though.
Good job. You guys have a lot of energy. That's what I want.
Even though she's impressed with the energy the students are bringing to the security training, Karen still doesn't see the fire in their eyes they'll need if there's an emergency.
At first, it was kind of unnatural for them. I'm going to try to push a couple of buttons and see if I can get a better response, a more aggressive response.
Coming up on Flight Attendant School.
Oh, my God. I think Heather has been, I'll say, whiny. It hurts. We need to get her a little bit more tough.
Is it choking you?
Today is self-defense training at Flight Attendant School. The class has been split into two groups for the exercise. After being frustrated by the lackluster performance of the first group, Instructor Karen is hoping the second group can bring the necessary intensity to the training.
So, we want you to start with these strikes, the palm heel strike, okay?
Annie, I live with you, girl.
Oh, wait, help! Oh, hold on. Help! 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 Oh, my chest! Okay, go now. Go.
I'm sure that a lot of my fellow students were a little embarrassed and uneasy. I mean, I'm not a shy person, and that was hard for me.
I don't think Heather expected that training is more than just the Pepsi and the pretzels. She's up there with me as far as Princess is concerned.
Keep going, come on. Switch.
I think Heather has been a tad bit, I'll say whiny.
Oh my God. I need to put your head down. It hurts.
We need to get her a little bit more tough. We need to see a little rough around the edges with Heather. And I think we're gonna push a few of her buttons this afternoon.
Is he choking you? No, DM.
Okay, no. Why did you even let him get to that point, Heather?
As the second group winds down, Karen sees this group also lacks the intensity they'll need in the event of an emergency. Hoping to get better results from the group tomorrow, the instructors take a moment to put this training in perspective.
Picture yourself today with a group of people trying to take over an airplane with box cutters. You have two choices, fight or die.
It's a very scary thing having to learn all the stuff about weapons and security, and it kind of makes me angry that it's necessary, that, you know, we're at a point in time where people do things like this, where it's necessary to learn all this self-defense.
I'm not trying to hurt you or be cruel or embarrass you for any reason, but it's very, very important that you try to go 100% and don't stop, don't quit.
While Karen holds the second group to address their poor performance, the first group decides to leave, leaving the others stranded.
We wanted to get home and study, so we got the keys and left.
Do you think it was mean for us
Can I
to leave
unscrew a light
early?
bulb?
Do you think it was mean for us to leave early?
I like that.
No, somebody's going back.
They're gonna be like mad.
Well, I think if they have to sit around and wait
the
forever,
keys?
they might not be very happy about it.
You know, Stacy and them would be like, "We're going home. Forget that crap."
You
They
know
would've just
Stacy would
handed
leave
us
us
the
if she had the
keys.
chance.
I know
Immediately.
Stacy would
and
go home.
Katrina would
I don't know.
too.
Oh,
She
take her
said
down?
Keys.
They would have left
Pull a
us.
self-defense move on her?
And Stacy and Katrina would have left us, and Annie, if you think about it.
Annie probably would have too.
Annie would have said, "Where's the damn keys? Let's go." Some of the other housemates had left us the day before, so we felt it was perfect revenge.
Coming up on Flight Attendant School.
Y'all would have left us.
You cannot tell me
You
what
all
I
would
would
have
have
left us.
The four that left the other four here, it me off.
This is an audio tape off of Flight 93.
Half of the flight attendant trainees finished class first and left their housemates at school with no ride home. The others were forced to find another way to get back.
We wanted to hurry and, get home. Since they were going to be in there, we might as well go home, was our thinking. But didn't work out so smoothly, and I think that made Katrina really mad. You seemed mad, Katrina, when I asked you for the keys.
Huh? It wasn't you.
You guys
No,
both seemed
I just
mad.
thought that was rude. I mean, we were there for like 15 minutes. If it had been me,
But they told us you
We
guys
were
were gonna
told
be there.
6 o'clock at least, and that was 5 o'clock.
I
so
would
we
have
were like,
waited for
okay. Who told you that?
the rest of my roommates.
The instructors.
I just thought it was rude.
Karen?
Karen said you guys were there till at least 6.
I think it just lacked a little respect. The van is something used by all of us, so we need to make sure everybody's okay and can get home.
The point is, there's 8 of us. 8 of us take the van. Had it been me, had it been reversed, I would have waited.
No.
Yes,
Y'all would have left us.
You cannot tell me what I would have done.
left us. You would have waited an hour
Can
for
you let
us?
me finish? Dum dum dum. Because first of all, it wasn't an hour. Second of all, we all came together. I don't have anything to do, so it wouldn't have bothered me to wait for the rest of my roommates. That is what's irritating.
The four that left the other four here, it me off. Like, you don't do stuff like that. And it'd be different if it was an hour, but it wasn't. It was 15, 20 minutes. It's stuff like that. I don't feel camaraderie in the house.
Sure, I could wait, but I'd rather not. If I know that I'm probably gonna get home, and if we would have gotten the keys right then and left, the van would have been back for you guys. That's why I was just kind of like, well,
It's fine, it's done. I just know next time.
No.
Yes, it's fine, it's done, it's over. Nothing is gonna change it. It's done.
I just don't want any unnecessary stress, and right now it's just unnecessary stress. You know, and it's just easier to remove myself from the situation.
Now that Katrina has kind of talked to us and we kind of know, we're going to be more conscious of that and try not to, leave people behind.
With hard feelings barely put to rest, the housemates must set aside their differences for the night and use the new day to focus on security training. After getting left behind at school the day before, all the students make sure to get to the van on time, especially Katrina.
I don't know if I'd say there was a loss of trust, but I do know that if we ever split up again, there needs to be some communication about where the van's going.
Before the students move on to the second half of the self-defense training, Instructor Frank takes a moment to remind them of the worst that can happen in the air and why they must take this training so seriously.
Our program is dedicated to the crew members that lost their lives on September 11th, and also the passengers as well. My feeling is we owe our security training to them, all right, to never let something like this happen again. And these are the folks, the crew members that lost their lives on that day. This is an audio tape from air traffic control that they picked up off of Flight 93, which was the United flight that crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
United 93, the equipment side off, please. United 1523, did you hear your company, did you hear some interference on the frequency here a couple minutes ago, screaming? Yes, I did, 797, and we couldn't tell what it was either. Okay.
I think that showing the tapes in class just intensifies how important our job is. We are who people look at for safety.
United 93, understand there's a bomb on board, go ahead. Sector 956, did you understand that transmission? Affirmative, he said there was a bomb on board.
Hearing the actual voices of people that were going through it, it helped me to understand the importance of our job and just all the small things that you train for that hopefully you won't ever have to use, but just that it's vital.
93, go ahead. United 93, United 93, do you hear Cleveland? United 93, Cleveland. So it appears to be just a dark cloud, like a puff of black smoke.
Listening to the tapes 9/11 was eerie, just because you can imagine what happened that day and how bad it was.
It really makes you take training more seriously, and it makes you want to, make sure that you're gonna do all you can if a situation like 9/11 never came up again.
Well, hopefully you have a little bit of an idea of what was going on at that time. You really don't know how properly trained you are until you're faced with a situation like that. And we owe it to our crew members and to our passengers and to the other employees to do the best we can with training this.
As the students feel the impact of the 9/11 tapes, they are reminded that self-defense training could mean the difference between life and death. Coming up on Flight Attendant School.
Bring attack! Bring attack! Help! Help! Call the captain!
It was just a time to kind of go nuts.
I chose not to fight.
Heather, I was very disappointed in her.
After hearing the 9/11 tapes, the students enter today's security training with a new level of intensity.
We're going to give everybody an opportunity to fight with Lee in the suit.
Ready?
Yep.
Get your hands up.
Come on, Katrina.
Come on.
Well, if I'm in the galley, I don't know you're coming.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm right here. Get me in. Are you gonna do it?
I need you to start over again. Can you go attack me again?
I'm not gonna start over.
Okay, go! I think the whole red suit activity was cool. It was nice to get to practice on an actual human.
Help! Help!
It was just a time to kind of go nuts, just get some built-up aggression out.
Anybody else?
It's worth it, Heather. Do it.
Megan, do it. You'll warm up. No. I'm good. Okay.
Heather, get up here. I don't want to have to come out in the crowd and get you.
No way. You've already beat me up today.
Get up here.
Heather, the little cheerleader, actually, I was very disappointed in her. She's got physical skills. I think she needs to step up with the mental attitude.
If you guys absolutely don't want to do it, that's fine. But as your classmates will share with you, it's a great experience to be able to put all of your tools into action.
I don't know why Heather didn't want to do it. I think maybe it was just that she was afraid of, you know, letting loose. An important thing to understand about being a flight attendant is that part of your role is protecting people at whatever cost.
I chose not to fight Lee in the red suit just because, one, my body aches and hurts so bad right now as it is, and I've actually been into altercations before in the past, and so I've been there, done it. Don't want to redo it again.
In this situation, she needed to overcome a fear, and that's what she'll have to do all the time. And I mean, there's always a chance that somebody could freeze up. I just wish that, you know, today in a controlled environment, she could overcome the little bit of fear or whatever anxiety she had.
Being a flight attendant today means physically protecting the passengers from onboard threats. If the students cannot accept this responsibility, they may not be right for the job.
Hopefully you never will ever have to use this. Our goal is to not only win, but to come home at the end of our trip or at the end of our day.
On the next episode of Flight Attendant School.
Living with them 24/7, they get on your nerves. You're not supposed to be cheating.
It doesn't help for me to stare at it if I don't know it.
Cheater. Cheater, cheater, cheater.
William has had some issues with being homesick, and I don't have time for it. I don't like to cook.
You mean you're just lazy?
No, I don't like to cook.
All of us were feeling like he didn't like us, didn't want to be here.
We want to help you, but it's hard to when you're telling us that your situation's a hellhole when we're part of it.